to Engineer John Navi Quinones, our computer-aided drafting and design professor, and to our fellow classmates, a pleasant day to you all. I am Angeline Luaton, and joining me in today's video presentation are Beatrice Sagansin, Aris Celestino, Kian Ilagan, Jumel Manuel, and EJ Cruz. We are the representatives of Group 2, and we are here to discuss the initial progress of our project that addresses the question: how might we reduce reliance on single-use plastics? Human civilization has become heavily reliant on plastics for quite some time now. Since the onset of industrial plastic production in the 1950s, the world has become a hyper-generator machine that led to plastics overpowering the volume production of other materials by a significant factor. Numerous opportunities for growth and advancement in various industries have been made possible by the invention of plastics. Today, plastic has already been influenced and designed for everyone's use, providing advantages beyond the cost savings and convenience, inspiring people all over the world to change their lifestyles. This is most unquestionably the reason why the concept of plastic displayed a societal change in our societies. Though the invention of plastic have been revolutionary in numerous sectors, such as health, transportation, and packaging industries, these desired characteristics of the material itself are what make it a major driver of countless environmental issues. One particular type of plastic that has become an eyesore for environmental activists are single-use plastics. From the name itself, single-use plastics are plastic materials that are disposed of after every use. They offer no sustainable service for its consumers and covers more than half of the 300 million tons of plastic that is generated in a single year. In terms of price, accessibility, practicality, and energy efficiency, single-use products easily surpass reusable ones. But using one generally requires users' commitment to properly disregarding them, whether through recycling or at the very least by making sure they end up in the right waste bin. And just like any plastic material, its decaying process is merely decomposition into microplastics, which are extremely harmful to wildlife. Knowing the destructive impacts of plastics on the ecosystem, it is extremely vital for our society to innovate a method of developing an alternative product that can serve as a suitable replacement for single-use plastics, that can satisfy its functions and uses in the community, and eliminate the massive burden it has on the environment. To this end, this video presentation will discuss the team's proposal for an alternative product for single-use plastics. The content of this video will primarily focus on the specific problem of single-use plastics that will be addressed, along with the target users of the alternative product, the proposed methodology for the solution, and the expected beneficial impacts it will have on the users. So, without further ado, let us now start our presentation to be led by Mrs. Sagansin on the discussion of the problem focus.
Manila, with a population of 1.8 million, is one of the most densely populated city in the Philippines. Because of that, Manila is a hotspot for markets that sell goods at an affordable price. A very famous commercial area is known for its cheap prices bought in bulk called Divisoria. Located between Tondo and Binondo, it is well known for its low prices and diverse stores. It is riddled with bazaars, bargain malls, and other types of stores. On average, Divisoria has foot traffic of 700,000 people daily, going up to 1 million on days closed to major holidays like Christmas or New Year. With that amount of people coming and going, buying and selling, comes a substantial amount of waste in the form of plastic. It's no surprise that with that amount of foot traffic, proper waste management is hard to come by. Former Manila Mayor Isko Moreno also addressed the situation, quoting, "Matapos bigyan ng pagkakataong mamuhay ang mga ilang vendor sa Divisoria, tambak-tambak na basura naman ang isinukli nito sa taong bayan. And among the waste comes the top is the one-use, non-biodegradable plastic." Philstar describes the pre-Christmas rush in Divisoria as a flood of plastic garbage. Government data indicate that the per capita generation of trash in urban places increases from 0.7 kilos to 1.2 kilos per day during the holidays. Based on the latest available data from the Metro Manila Development Authority, or what we commonly know as the MMDA, the metropolis generates some 7,600 tons of trash per day, with plastics making up a big chunk. EcoWay said that there is a trend towards plasticization, which is taking a toll on the environment because illegally disposed plastics clog the waterways and ultimately drift into the already biologically dead Pasig River and Manila Bay. The 2006 survey showed that 76% of the garbage floating in Manila Bay was mostly synthetic plastic materials, with plastic bags comprising 51%, sachets and junk food wrappers 19%, styrofoam containers 5%, and hard plastics 1%. The rest of the rubbish found in Manila Bay consisted of rubber, taking up 10%, and biodegradable discards, taking up 13%. Our group project is focused on the plastic bags used by vendors and consumers in Divisoria. Currently, there are no steps taken in reducing the amount of one-time use plastic being consumed in the market area. Although previous mayors of Manila, like former Mayor Moreno, took initiative in cleaning up the area, it has been for naught as people keep on going back to old habits. It's as if people find it perfectly okay to mess up the area with excess packaging materials and other discards, as said by Manny Calonzo, who is the president of the Ecological Waste Coalition, or the EcoWaste. The discarded plastics included styrofoam nuts, shells, and carry bags. Having gained a significant background of our problem focus, let us head on to the target users of our product, to be discussed by Mr. Celestino.
According to the United Nations Environment Assembly, it is estimated that by 2050 there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean. This is a problem because plastic is not biodegradable and can take up to 1,000 years to decompose. Many other problems arise from the use of plastic. In the Philippines, plastic pollution is a big issue that has been under use for quite some time already. It has been observed that the environment has been affected by the use of plastic. Animals have been affected, and many more. These are serious issues that have to be considered. However, the scope of the whole area of the Philippines is too broad. Thus, our group has decided to narrow it down to the Divisoria, a place where plastic plays a huge percentage in the packaging. Our project targets two main types of people: plastic waste producers, which in this case are the Divisoria vendors who sell their products in plastic packaging, and consumers who consume these products. Our group has chosen to work with only these two types of people since they are directly involved in the plastic production process in the Divisoria. Knowing the problem focus and target users of this enterprise, let us now go over the proposed solution of the group in addressing the issue of single-use plastics in Divisoria. To discuss this, we have Mr. Ilagan and Mr. Manuel.
Having learned about the target user and the problem focus of the project, let us now head on to the respective course of actions that the group seeks to implement in order to address the issue of how might we reduce the reliance on single-use plastic. Upon learning about the growing problem of plastics in the Divisoria region, it is now essential to determine a suitable alternative for single-use plastics. Among many possible choices, bio-based plastics have shown great promise in the topic of plastic alternatives. The reason why is that bioplastics are known to have reduced use of fossil fuel resources, a smaller carbon footprint, and a faster decomposition. Bioplastic is also less toxic and does not contain bisphenol A, a hormone disruptor that is often found in traditional plastics. For this endeavor, the group has chosen to select starch as the main organic component of our bioplastic. At present, plants are considered to be a viable option for the production of bioplastics, mainly due to their capability as solar-driven biofactories with the potential for being renewable and sustainable and producing many polymers such as starch and cellulose naturally. Among those naturally produced polymers in plants, starch is considered a promising candidate for developing sustainable materials, mainly due to the complete biodegradability of starch, low cost, and renewability. However,
Good day everyone! In continuation, starch-based materials have some drawbacks, including long-term stability caused by water absorption, aging caused by retrogression, and poor mechanical properties. To overcome these limitations, a plasticizer such as glycerine has been added to improve the shell life and elasticity of the product. The presence of plasticizer also occupies spaces between the starch polymer chains tempered, which then decreases the crystallinity of the plastics. This plasticized starch is more versatile and can be blended with various polymetric materials for numerous applications. Our reference study for the methodology comes from Ismail and others 2016, and their research entitled Synthesis and Characterization of Biodegradable Starch-Based Bioplastics. In these studies, the materials used were yam and potato starch to synthesize bioplastics and was very determined with the addition of propan 1,2,3-triol as the plasticizer. The methodology for this experiment is presented on the screen. Thank you for that. And once again, I am Jamil West TV Manuel, and good day.
Now, let's move on to its impact to business owners and consumers. Now, plastics are known to contain hazardous chemicals such as phthalates, polyfluorinated chemicals, bisphenol A or BPA, brominated flame retardants, and antimony trioxide, which can leach out to have adverse effects on environmental and public health. Swapping out the usual plastic bags for more environmentally conscious bioplastic bags made of starch is sure to garner mixed responses from both the consumers and the vendors within Divisoria. Initial perceptions from our target audience might be that they need to get used to newer, perhaps more expensive packaging instead of being able to save money. However, in the long term, more positive effects can be observed, particularly on the environmental and social aspects. Firstly, using renewable materials and processes for creating this type of reusable packaging ensures that the consumer as well as the vendor is contributing to sustainable practices that benefit the environment as time goes on. While this may not sound as appealing to our target audience, as they might simply be trying to make a living, sustainable packaging will also yield positive effects on a person's health and well-being. Now, plastics are known to harbor dangerous chemicals during its production. One example of the chemicals used is bisphenol A or BPA, a known endocrine disruptor, or a chemical that yields negative effects on our ability to reproduce. Another group of chemicals known as phthalates, which act as plastic softeners, are also classified as endocrine disruptors. The effects of these chemicals are not limited to reproduction. Pregnant women may also be affected by this, since these chemicals can potentially harm unborn children. With sustainable packaging, nearly all of the materials used are organic, along with being manufactured using safe, research-backed, and ethical methods. And due to being inherently biodegradable, disposal is easier if a consumer or vendor wishes to not have it anymore. Additionally, the materials used for packaging offer versatility to anyone who uses it, allowing its materials to be repurposed depending on what they'll be using it on. Now, as for the social impacts, it cannot be denied that sustainable packaging will be more expensive than single-use plastics. To counter this flaw, the government can coordinate with the vendors regarding the provision of sustainable packaging. Not only will this prevent the need for what they may call oplanlinis, wherein the constant community cleanup will disrupt local businesses, but it will also reduce the expenses of the vendors when it comes to packaging, along with, of course, being environmentally friendly, which is our main goal. Now with that, this formally concludes our video presentation for today. Now on behalf of Group 2, thank you for listening and may we have a nice day ahead. Thank you so much, and these are our references. Thank you.